Chapter 7 of The House on the Cliff by Franklin W. Dixon. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 7. Bound and Gagged. The Hardy boys were astonished by this information. Their father, tapping a pencil quickly on the desk, leaned forward in his chair. "You may have stumbled on some information of great value," he said to them quietly. "I need hardly tell you that it is best to keep it to yourself. If Ganny Snackley is operating in this vicinity, it will be a great feather in our cap to catch him." "It's an unusual name," remarked Frank. "I'll bet that's the Snackley our man meant, all right." "And the farmer said there was smuggling going on in the bay," Joe pointed out. "Of course, there's always been more or less smuggling carried on in Barmet Bay, but it's been on a small scale. Ganny Snackley and his gang are international smugglers. The last I heard of him, he was operating up on the New England coast, but probably things grew too hot for him, and he moved down here. He seems to have dropped completely out of sight for the past 6 months or so. Perhaps this man Jones at the farmhouse will talk later." "I'm going out there to interview him," said Fenton Hardy. "I'll wait a few days until he's feeling better. Of course, the matter is one for the United States authorities, and as I haven't been assigned to the case, I can't do very much. But perhaps I'll get some information I can use at some other time. Joe and I will go out tomorrow to see how he is getting along. Do so, but don't ask any questions. Don't let him think you are suspicious of him. Otherwise, he'll be liable to sneak away as soon as he can, and we'll lose him altogether. He is under an obligation to you now because you saved his life, so it will seem quite natural for you to come back to see him. If you think he is recovering quickly, let me know, and I'll go out right away and talk to him. If you think he will be there for several days yet, we'll just let him stay until he feels better." "Perhaps he is a detective himself," Frank suggested. "That had occurred to me," admitted Mr. Hardy. "If that's the case, I'll keep out of the affair. It's just probable that he was a Secret Service man who discovered Snackley's hangout and was shot for his pains. That would explain why he wouldn't tell you anything about himself. But there's always the possibility that he is one of Snackley's enemies, and in that case I may be able to persuade him to talk." Fenton Hardy asked the boys more questions about their adventure, but beyond a few trivial details they were unable to throw any further light on the mystery. However, it was decided that they should go back to the Kane farmhouse on the following day, which was Sunday, and report on the condition of the mysterious Mr. Jones. With that, they left their father, spending the rest of the afternoon in eager discussion and speculation concerning the strange events of the day. It had been an eventful holiday for them, and although they went over the incidents time and again, they were unable to arrive at any solution of the puzzling affair in Barmet Bay. As for the happenings at the house on the cliff, they were inclined to accept their father's theory that some practical joker had been to blame. Next morning, after church, they took the motorcycles out of the garage and prepared to ride out to the Kane farmhouse, there to make inquiry as to the condition of the man they had rescued on the previous day. "Remember," warned their father, "don't ask him too many questions, or he'll get suspicious. Just find out how long he is likely to remain at the farm. If his injuries aren't very serious, he'll be leaving in a day or so, and we'll want to check up on him." The boys promised to follow the detective's instructions. Unlike the day previous, this Sunday was clear and bright, and the rain of the afternoon before had laid the dust so that they enjoyed their journey along the shore road. "It would be a bad joke on us if Mr. Jones left before we got there," remarked Joe. "I don't think he will. That wound in his side was enough to keep him laid up for a few days, and anyway, he lost so much blood yesterday that it would take him a while to get back his strength. I hope he isn't a detective. Why? It would be great if we could get a chance to do some work on this case ourselves. If Ganny Snackley is in the neighborhood and the government detectives don't know of it, we would help Dad land him." "It would be a great chance," admitted Frank, "but I think we'll find our friend Jones is a detective. That is, if we ever find out anything definite about him. Why else should Snackley and his men try to kill him? For there's no doubt they left him for dead. Perhaps he was another smuggler that they wanted to get rid of. Maybe, but I think it's most likely he is a Secret Service man. At length they arrived at the lane leading from the main road to the farmhouse. As their motorcycles roared down the drive, they watched for some sign of life about the place, but there was no one in the orchard or in the barnyard. No one came out of the house. The place appeared to be deserted, and although it was a warm day, the doors were closed. "This is queer," remarked Frank as they brought their motorcycles to a stop and left them in the shade of a large tree near the back of the house. Mr. and Mrs. Kane couldn't have gone away and left Jones there alone, could they? The boys went up to the door and rapped. There was no answer. "Try the front door," Joe suggested. After a number of futile efforts, they went to the front door of the farmhouse, but here, although they banged on the panels, there was likewise no response. "They must have gone out," said Joe. "But what about Jones? They wouldn't leave him here alone. I can't understand this." They went to the back door and rapped again and again. Still no answer. Frank tried the doorknob and found out that the door swung open. "They didn't lock the place up anyway," he said. "Let's go in. If Jones is upstairs, we'll go up and see him. Mr. Kane won't mind. Probably they didn't expect callers today." They went into the kitchen, and here they were surprised by the scene of disorder that greeted their gaze. The previous day they had been impressed by the neatness of the room, for Mrs. Kane was evidently the soul of tidiness. Now the kitchen looked as though an earthquake had shaken it. Pots and pans were strewn about the floor. The table had been overturned. A chair lay upside down in a corner. A few cups and saucers lay in shattered bits beside the stove. The wood box had been upset, and the wood was scattered about. One window curtain had been partly torn from its fastenings. "What on earth has happened here?" Frank exclaimed in profound astonishment. "Looks as if a cyclone came through." "There's something queer about this. There's been a fight or a struggle of some kind here. Let's see what the rest of the house looks like." The Hardy boys rushed into the next room. There, an unexpected sight met their eyes. Mr. and Mrs. Kane were seated in chairs in the middle of the room. They were unable to move, unable to speak, scarcely able to make a struggle. The farmer and his wife were bound and gagged, tied to their chairs. End of chapter 7.